Oh, Kerry, delighted to be chatting to you. Myself and my mate Steve Evans here.
Hi,
Hi, pleasure
Kerry.
to meet you both. Hi.
Yeah, brilliant. So, you're from London, living in Spain.
This is
Um,
correct.
why did you move? Why did you move to Spain? And whereabouts are you in Spain?
Okay, so I'm in Catalonia,
Oh,
and we moved to Spain because my partner Craig, his company asked him to move over to Spain to carry on with some build projects. He works for McLaren Motors, and we had 7 weeks to basically to pack everything up and say goodbye to our friends and family
oh.
and come over. So it was a bit of a whirlwind.
It's a short time to
Wow.
move, isn't it?
Yeah, he's one of the only electrical engineers, so he's quite sought after, and they needed him over here.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was. We've always wanted to come to Spain, but I mean, it was 5 years earlier than we had anticipated. But we're here and we love it.
Brilliant.
Oh, that's
Brilliant.
brilliant.
Hmm.
For McLaren must help, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
Sounds like a dream job to me.
Yeah, he does. He loves it. And I was so lucky with the company that I work for because I'm still working. They just not relocated me. They put me under the umbrella of their Spanish company. So it was just really smooth. I think the biggest headache was trying to organize pet passports and getting them in crates, and
Ah,
the rest of it was just it was really smooth transition.
hmm.
Yeah, because you've got a couple of pets, haven't you? I seem to remember cats, 3 cats and a dog.
Yeah, I've got 4 cats. So I moved across with a dog and a cat, and since I've been here, I've accumulated 3 more cats. So I'm a real sucker for rescues. So yeah,
Hmm.
we're quite a
Brilliant,
crew.
brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, Kerry, it says in your profile that you're doing up an old property. Is that ongoing? Is it? Is that a big job?
It's a very big job. Yeah, over many years, things just changed over here with the government and the system and everything. And then the property was left literally abandoned for 30 years. So it's quite a significant property. It's over 7 floors, and it's about
What?
8.
What? Did you
Wow.
say
It's like an
7 floors?
apartment block.
Yeah.
We need a lift. We seriously need a lift. I'm getting great legs though, going up and down the stairs. So just to put you in the picture, we had absolutely nothing. It had been deserted for 30 years. So there weren't even any windows. There was no cabling for electricity. There was no plumbing. It had just been gutted.
Hmm.
So between the two of us, I mean, Craig's obviously doing most of it. He's reglazed the windows. He's put all the piping in for the water. All the electric. The whole house has been rewired up, and it's also dual. So we now have solar power as well for all our lighting and some of our sockets. So we're 3 years into it, and I don't want to even think about how many years we've got to go. I would say a good 5 years, because we literally are just doing it on our own. So
You're gonna rent it out. You're gonna rent apartments out.
No. What had happened though, you're saying about apartment, was the house had been made into 3 apartments because each floor is sizable really to have a bathroom, a couple of bedrooms and what have you. But we're making it into a home, and we're restoring it sympathetically. So we are maintaining as much as we can. We've got the original shutters, and it's going to be absolutely stunning. But it's it's a real labor of love. I mean, so many beams. We've got the original beams. We're taking the paint off them. So it's hard, but it's really, really rewarding.
Sounds like a very exciting project, but a hard one. Labor of love, then, I
It is.
suppose, but it's going to take some time.
It is.
That's amazing, isn't it?
I need
Yeah.
to write a book saying how to stay with your partner in a massive house reform.
Oh, go on. I was going to say,
No,
does it
go on,
help
Steve.
speaking 4 languages then when you need to order materials? Or
Oh,
how come you speak 4 languages? Is
oh
that something that
dear.
a legacy from school,
No, well, my
or
mum was
something you?
German, so we were brought up
Ah,
with the speaking the German, and I've always had a thing for languages. So I speak German and English, obviously. And then I was learning Spanish because I thought, well, we're going to Spain, I need to learn how to speak Castilian. We moved here, and it's a very, very small village right in the heart of the Catalonian countryside, and they all speak Catalan. So I had to do a crash course in Catalan to be able to converse with them. I mean, they're super lovely. They start to speak to me in Castilian. And then the other language I'm learning is Russian, because I've just always been fascinated with the language. And yeah, so I'm my 2nd year into that. And then maybe Japanese I will go to if I've got time.
not the easy ones
Eventually.
then. Not the easy
No, I
French
just
one.
like to load myself up.
Ah.
You like to keep busy, obviously. Then, yeah, fit in the odd book here and there, of course.
Yeah, I know. I've written 4 this year, and I'm trying to get them all out. Yes, and I'm working, so it's crazy.
4 books this year.
It's a lot.
Yeah, so Boris Flies to the Moon, which is the new one, it just went live yesterday. That's obviously out.
Yeah.
I've written the next one to that, which is going to come out the end of November. Boris meets Father Christmas.
Okay.
Right, because that was one of our questions. What were you going to do next, or what you're doing now? But you can answer that, yeah.
Okay, well, there's going to be 12 in this series, all about Boris and his little brothers and sisters. I've written a psychological thriller.
Dakota.
Which I'm just doing. No, Dakota came out, debuted last year. So Dakota is a crime thriller, more of a suspense. And then the psychological thriller, which touches on relationships. Basically, it's about a woman who is in an abusive, not physically, but a mentally abusive relationship, and the extent that she will go to get out of the relationship and get her retribution and her revenge. It's quite sinister, and it's got some nice twists and turns in it. And that is coming out in September. So I'm busy away, just sorting out the last bits of the formatting on that, and I shall be plugging that.
I can imagine you with a paintbrush in one hand and the keyboard in the other hand, and maybe a brush somewhere else.
Each arm. It does feel a little bit like that.
Yeah, Kerry, can I ask you about the title, Boris? I know you may think it's not that popular really in the UK, and some people think they wish Boris would actually go to the moon, get rid of him.
Well, I'm glad if somebody searches for Boris, they're going to find Boris the book. The name Boris. I do have a cat who is called Boris. And it's from Boris the Blade, from one of the Guy Ritchie movies that I really love.
Which one?
It's Snatch.
Snatch? Who's the Boris character?
He's the best. Boris the Blade.
Oh, the one who they can't kill him. They try to murder him different ways. Yeah, the tough guy.
I didn't know what to call my little kitten when I got him. He was 7 weeks old and I was watching, and I thought, you know what, he's going to be a big chap. I'm going to call him. Well, I probably should have said that he was going to be a big chap since we're talking about Boris, but I thought I'll just call him Boris. And he's just such a spaced out cat. He has his own world going on. And I just was watching him about 2 months ago, and I thought, I have got to really write a little story about you and your little world and what happens when you fall to sleep at night. And so there's like 12 book ideas that are in my head, and I've got the second one down already. So yeah.
He's got a magic carpet, hasn't he, Boris?
He has got a little magic carpet, and I'm sure when he falls to sleep at night in real life and he's twitching away, he probably is imagining that he's gone to the moon. So
I was going to ask you, how come there's so much diversity? You've gone from a thriller to children's books. Yeah. However, I can see you're very active, and it's probably your mind is like that way. You want to do everything, different things all the time, I suppose. Is that part and parcel of writing the books, 2 different genres?
I think you are right. I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's just the way I am. I started writing when I was very young. I would say my first memory or recollection of it is when I was probably about 9 or 10, writing children's stories about gnomes in my dad's back garden and how they would play out when he had left the garden and he'd gone to bed at night. So I would just always write, and even when I was supposed to be in class, I would write stories. And but I came out with Dakota, and a little bit of a backstory to that is it was because I met a friend who was telling me about how she had met somebody at a club, and it turned out they were actually blood related. And then my head just went off. They luckily it didn't get to beyond the point of them being physically together, but my mind just went off as, gosh, could you imagine what would have happened if you found out that you were dating your half brother? And so with Dakota, it just turned into this massive crime suspense story that's got kidnapping in it and murder in it, and lots of twists and turns are going on. It's quite very sinister, dark book.
She's a supermodel, is she, Dakota? Beautiful lady.
She is a beautiful lady, and it just it kind of really highlights that, you know, anything in life can happen to pretty much anybody. It doesn't matter if you're just like, say, like me, just a normal bod in the street, or, you know, you're a high flyer. These things can happen to anybody, but it's what can happen if you keep this. So she keeps the secret, and that's why the consequences are fatal. And, you know, and it just takes to extremes about, if, you know, what happens if you keep a secret about this, and it doesn't matter that you're a supermodel. And I think the readers can engage, and then they can relate to her, because she's just a normal woman. It's just her job is just, she's a supermodel. But touching back on your question with regards to the genres, I do have so many ideas that float around, and then of course I got sidetracked with Boris whilst I was editing my psychological thriller. And I do have a rom-com book which is going to come out, I would say, March, April next year, which is very, very loosely based around house reform project, because I've got experience of that, called Jimmy Choos to Cleaning Blue. So I think I'm just going to end up being a multi-genre author, and hopefully I can please lots of people who like reading lots of different genres.
Yeah. Have you published independently? Have you gone through the pain of connecting with traditional publishers?
I've gone independently. I've gone with Amazon.
Good on you. Yep.
Yeah, thank you. And my reason for that is, like you say, it can be quite a painful procedure to go down the traditional route. And with Amazon, you know, they've made it, first of all, their audience is ginormous. Yeah. And their help program and their marketing, everything, you know, everything is there just at the click of a button. And they've made the whole publishing process very, very easy. The other thing I found out from doing a lot of research is that even if you do get a fantastic publishing deal and you do get an agent, you still really are hugely responsible for your own marketing. And also they take a lot of royalties, whereas with Amazon, you know, they're not really taking a lot. So you're getting a higher percentage.
Yeah, 60% in it for your Kindle.
Yeah, it is. It's much more, for me personally, in my opinion, it's much more attractive way of doing it. And you know, indie authors are a whole new breed of people. And
yeah. And you need to edit as well. It'll take you a day, won't it? You know, you can re-upload. Whereas with traditional publisher, it'll take another year, maybe, you know, to put any changes in the book, or to change the cover, or to change the price.
Yeah, you're right.
You're in control.
Such a long time. Yeah, and I like that, really. Not that I'm a control freak, maybe I am, but I like the fact that you see it right from the start to right to the end. And it's also very rewarding to know that you've not just created your own story and put all those words on the pages, but you've actually, you know, I do my own beta reading, I do my own editing. It's 5 or 6 edits. I do the whole process.
That's unusual.
On my own. Yeah, I know that there's a few of us there's quite a few of us actually who do that, and it's not so much a budget thing or anything like that. And maybe when I'm pushing out maybe a few more books in a year, I might have to say, look, here, please, can you do the editing, and then let's take it from there. But yeah, I mean, I just doing absolutely everything on my own, and create, even with the children's books, I've fantastic illustrator, Prabir Sharkar. But the whole creation of it, you know, it's and I thoroughly enjoy it. I love it.
Well, I find it a real struggle to read or be a beta reader for my own stuff. I just don't think I could do that. I'd like an outside influence to look at it and tell me, you know, advise me. But if it works for you, I know it works. It's great, you know. Yeah. What was Boris Flies to the Moon supposed to be a standalone book, or was there going to be a series, or is there still, perhaps?
Yeah, so the follow-on book, so we will go back to Boris, where he goes onto his magic rug, because he's got all these little sibling cats and brothers. So there will, but I mean, there's going to be 12 books. Initially, I've got 12. Right. I've got 12 books inside me. So I think really for Boris and his little cats, and then we'll have spin-offs for the other cats like Bonnie and Zeus. I think realistically, I can see that I can't stop writing about them, so they're probably ongoing. So there's always going to be some kind of book Boris related,
Well, fair enough. I just wonder whether you just plucked it out of the air and said, Boris, I'm going to write about Boris.
It's going
to be one off. But then it came later with all the other cats and so on.
Yeah, that is what's happened. It was going to be him, and then I started writing, and then I started writing the next one, because I love Christmas, and I could just see him being a good boy and Santa and Zeus's kitten brother being totally naughty and just, you know, jumping into the sleigh and throwing parcels around, you know, while they're going off swishing through the sky with the reindeers. And of course, my imagination's gone wild. So I've written the book and, you know, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
Thank you.
Kerry, can I just go back to Dakota? Unless I've read this wrong, is it 454 pages?
Yes.
Really? It's about, what, 150,000 words on that?
No. So when I did Dakota,
yeah,
probably would only come down to 300, but I got my line spacing slightly bigger because
that's right. Yeah.
I didn't want to do it. Thank you for asking. And also it will, you know, anybody who's read it and thought, why it's slightly larger, is I didn't want to produce it in large because I didn't want the font to be 16.
Yeah.
But I did want it to be easier for some people. So it's, you know, it's longer because of the spacing that I've done on it.
I appreciate books more and more like that the older I get.
I do as well.
Books I used to read, you know, with tiny
Right.
fonts, I have to throw them away or use a magnifying glass on them to see them.
Yeah, and I do. As you saw at the very beginning, I wear glasses. So when I write and I had to look at the draft, I thought, actually, I quite like it like this.
Yeah. Excellent.
No, that's fair enough. Get it. Who did the illustrations for your books then? Is it your design as well, is it? Or did you get someone to do them?
For Boris Flies to the Moon, I've enlisted the help of an illustrator called Prabir Shakar, who will be doing all the illustrations for all the books. And they really are amazing. He's fantastic, really, really lovely. And he puts his own ideas, he creates the backgrounds. And then actually for the cover of Dakota, I knew in my head what I wanted to have, but when I went onto the Kindle to set the book up, you can actually choose. And at first I thought, oh, do I want to take one of their illustrations that they have that you can use for your cover?
Templates, yeah.
Yeah, and I ummed and ahed about it for quite a while because I thought, well, the danger is somebody else is going to have the same one. But
true,
you know,
true.
In the whole time that the book has been out, and I look at lots of books and I follow lots of authors, I've not actually seen the same one. So, but when I saw it, you know, when you see something and it absolutely grabs you, I loved it when I saw it, and I thought it's got the look that I really want, and so I chose it over going to an illustrator, which was going to be my next step if I didn't find something I wanted, but it just was there.
Yeah. Kerry, you don't have to answer this, but what kind of a deal have you got with the illustrator? Are you paying up front or are you sharing the royalties?
No, it's pay up front.
Okay.
Yeah, which is how they, you know, I asked him how he wanted to do it, and that's how we will do it.
Yeah. Okay.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah, yeah. Have you had any approaches for Dakota, or in fact, any books for TV writer or anything like that? Has anyone tentatively approached you?
No,
TV deals?
Not yet. In my dreams, I do. However, that would be wonderful, and I would just be an absolute dream come true. But I do have correspondence with. I don't know if you know of Michael Frost Beckner, who wrote Spy Game, became a famous film with Brad Pitt and Robert Redford in it. So he's the producer, author. And I've had some email correspondence with him, and he's got Dakota at the moment. He's reading it, and he said he's absolutely really taken with it.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what can happen in the future, but at the end of the year, I'm going to be joining another platform. I think it's called IMDb, and I'm going to see if I can enlist somebody who can help me with a screenwriter or a screenplay for it, and take it from there.
Yeah.
I think it's got the potential. Somebody wrote me a review to say they could really see it as a mini series, so just got to keep plugging away.
Why don't you have a go at that yourself?
That's good then.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I could. Let me have a think. I'll have to probably get up at 3 a.m. in the morning to try. I might do, and I think the next book that's coming out, Who's Watching Here, that definitely has got potential to
I like the title. That's a great title.
You'd love the cover. I might after the call, I'll share the cover work with you, so you can have a little look. You might want to plug it somewhere.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really quite interesting.
But if we are writing the screenplay, the software that I use called Fade-In. It's really cheap. Pay a one-off license, and basically you copy the Word document into it and just strip out the dialogue, and you use like simple keyboard shortcuts, you know, for the headings, you know, scene, dialogue, intro, day or night. It might be worth looking at.
Yeah, definitely. If you get after the call, perhaps if you wouldn't mind, send me the link and I'll have a little look at that.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, definitely.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Can I ask you about your writing routine? I know it sounds like, well, within a year's time, you're going to have quite a prolific output. Have you got a certain time of the day? I know you mentioned earlier, it's, you're doing a day job as normal. Yes. So is this, you're writing till the early hours in the morning or weekends?
At the weekends mostly. So I don't work on a Wednesday. So I work 4 days, four full days of the week. Yeah. And my routine is to write on a Wednesday morning for a good couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours. And by then I really can get nearly 3,000 words down. So I can get quite a good chunk down.
That's a lot.
It is. It's quite, I'm really pleased with my output. I don't have, I haven't had writer's block yet, and I'm never short of anything to say, as you probably told. So when I'm writing, I'm never short of anything to put in my books. So I'm very blessed with that. It's a fantastic trait for an author. And also on a Sunday morning is when I will write. So, the books take me, the last one, Who's Watching Here, that I've done, it took me 3 months to write it. And that was just on the Wednesday and a Sunday morning. And then because the rest of the time around my work and the house reform is spent editing and just doing the stuff that we have to do in life. So I probably write in a week 4 hours, and I'm getting a good 4,000 or 5,000 words out.
You're writing on paper? Or you got notebooks, or you straight to the keyboard?
Straight to the keyboard.
Yeah.
Straight to the keyboard. Yeah.
That again, that surprises me. Most writers, I know myself, I use a notepad. But by the time it gets to the keyboard, it's already gone through sort of a first edit.
Oh right, okay. No, I've always done it like that. Well, I mean, obviously,
but all different.
Before I used to write, yeah, absolutely, of course. And I don't have the idea boards or anything like that either.
No stickies everywhere on the sheet.
No, I have in my head. I guess I have them in my head because when I'm thinking, I have like the little boxes in my head with little arrows going to them, and it's a visualization for me. I'm very much a visual person, so I will visual how I want my story to go. So I've always got the beginning, and I really know how I want the end to be, and I kind of know where I want my twists and turns to go, and then I just write her.
Yeah. Wow.
When you started writing, obviously other writers have probably influenced you. For example, as Emma, because Emma Bruce, has she helped you along the way, influenced you in any way, or is it the other way around? Perhaps writers influence you. Which ones? Or
I mean, Emma's fantastic, and she is so supportive of me. And we came across each other on Pinterest. Funnily enough, I started Pinterest, and she messaged out to me. So we've been chatting on and off various different platforms from there. So it's always fantastic to come across and be chatting with somebody like Emma, who is an inspiration, because she's working really hard at it, and she's put out 2 amazing books. And she's a mom as well, and so of course you can't help but be inspired by somebody like Emma. When it comes to the other authors that I follow and I really like, it's like Stephen King is really a major player for me, because his books I think are amazing. And when I think about what he writes, and sometimes you kind of are just so shocked beyond belief that you need to pick your jaw off the ground. But I think he's amazing. He's got such a fantastic mind, and he's really been somebody that's influenced me in my writing. And the interviews that I've read that he's given, where he will say, you have to be thick-skinned, you just have to keep on going. And if you like what you're writing and you're confident about what you're writing, then that's what you need to believe in. And one opinion is not the same as another opinion. So for me, he's been a massive influence on my writing and how I approach it, and how I just don't get knocked off my feet, if that makes sense. Somebody might want to say something negative, I just immediately think, well, how would Stephen King react to this, or what would Stephen King do? And he's a major player for me.
Have you read his book on writing? I know a lot of writers have said that's been like a major influence to give them the encouragement.
No, I haven't read it. I do read a lot of his interviews, and across his platforms where he comes out and he puts stuff out is mostly where I get the interaction with him.
There's a chapter in there, I think he's written Carrie, I think it was his first novel.
Yeah,
and he was skint. I think he was talking about the wife's hairdryer blew up or something, and he had $2 in his pocket or something, wondering how she's going to get a hairdryer, how they're going to carry on. And then he got a message through saying, publisher, we want to buy it, $80,000. And then his life just changed.
It's amazing, isn't it? And it can just happen.
Keeps you going.
Exactly, you know, and not just in writing, but when you look at people in the music industry as well, and you read or you hear about their stories, like how some of them couldn't even afford to eat, and then all of a sudden, well, I say all of a sudden, that's really the wrong thing to say, because there's so much work and blood, sweat and tears is the phrase, isn't it, that goes into producing anything, whether it's writing or music or any kind of art. And then just like that, something can happen and it just changes your world. And I'm a firm believer, you know, if it can happen to one person, then why can't it happen to me? You know?
Yeah. It's like doing the lottery, isn't it? You've got more chance of winning if you buy a ticket. You put the words on the paper.
This is true. I mean, you are right. I mean, it's the lottery, but if you don't try and you don't approach anybody, you've got to be in the game to win the game, haven't you? And my advice to anybody as well would be, don't listen to anybody who's negative around you. Don't listen to anybody who says you can't do anything. Just whatever it is in your life, just do it and try. You know, you might be really super lucky.
Yeah. Do you find social media helps you, like Twitter, or I don't know if you use Facebook and Instagram or others? Any feedback on that for us?
Yeah, of course. So the platforms that I'm across are Instagram. I've just started on that recently, and I've actually now got quite a good following, which I'm super pleased with. I use Twitter quite a lot, and I've got a real great engagement with people who've read my books and with the writing community. The platform that I've actually found where I've been most successful on is on LinkedIn. I've amassed quite a good following there, and most of my sales have come through LinkedIn contacts. And I've also met some fantastic authors where we've done book sharing and book review sharing as well. So LinkedIn really has been a fantastic platform for me. Instagram and Twitter, it's very hard sometimes to judge where you're getting your sales from. But with LinkedIn, I'll know because they will direct message me and say, I've just bought your book. With on Twitter or on Instagram, not so many people are saying, oh, great, I'm going to buy your book. But on LinkedIn, I find I'm getting a lot of people saying, I bought your book, I'm reading your book and that kind of thing. So my interaction there is huge. And Pinterest is where I met Emma Brace, also the Pink Club. That's where one of my books, Dakota, sold on Pinterest from Emma purchased it, and we did a little swap. And so, yeah, I think Facebook I don't do, but I am looking to maybe start up with that. I do Goodreads as well, and I get a lot of good response on Goodreads, and I get some awesome reviews there. And it's so dedicated to readers. I mean, we're talking serious readers who have read thousands and thousands of books. It's an amazing platform.
Yeah, it's interesting what you say about LinkedIn. We do find, I think Terry will back me up here, we find most people use Twitter, or most authors seem to prefer Twitter. But I do know, I mean, Terry's on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and so am I, but I've not seen many other authors on there, to be honest. But,
usually employment agencies, that's what I've used it for in the past, or how it's well known. Yeah, so it's just surprising that.
Well, if it works for you, that's great.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I guess if you put author in the search bar, it will come down a lot, and then you can just connect and engage with them that way. But I do find there's quite a lot of postings out there, and I think I came across more authors by putting in author in the search engine, and then I could connect with them a little more easily. Because you are right, it does seem to come across as more the employment agencies or people who are selling products, you know, whether it's for your hair or for your house or something. You don't really see a lot of authors, but the amount of authors on there is absolutely staggering. And I chat with a few of them on a regular basis, and it's been invaluable for advice and just building friendships, you know, and teams of support around you.
I'm going to look at that again. I get regular messages in my Hotmail saying someone's connected with you on LinkedIn, and because I'm not looking for a job at the moment, I go, I don't care, you know. Move on.
Oh, you must, or even look for your favorite author on the internet.
Yeah, I'm going to,
and just see it on their webpage if they've got a LinkedIn button, and just click on it.
Okay, we'll do.
On what advice you would give to a newbie writer or someone starting out in this field, you know, go for it.
The best advice I can give you is just go for it. Don't stop at anything. Just believe in yourself, even if you don't think anybody else believes in you, and just don't ever give up on a dream. If your dream is to be an author, just see it through all the way. Just keep writing, write every single day, and just don't ever give up, and don't let anybody tell you that you can't write, because everybody has got a story.
Okay, and just while we're still talking about that, I want to go back to publishers. Would you say for a new writer to definitely go down the indie route, or is it worth doing a traditional publisher and pushing towards them as well? Would you use both routes, or?
Myself personally, I'm always going to stick with doing it myself on Amazon. I love the whole Amazon platform. I love that we're in charge. I just think that if somebody wants to try the traditional route, then by all means do that. I think sometimes there may be the element of, you know, if you get a good grade at school, you want that little tick to say you've done great. And maybe with traditional publishing, there's the whole thing that surrounds it to say, I've got a publishing contract, I'm liked by a publisher, I'm wanted, and all of that. You know, there may be that is feeding somebody intrinsically, that they feel that that's how they want to do it.
Yeah.
And I think I got over that years ago. I think I just wanted to do the whole Amazon thing. I love that we are in control on Amazon. And like you say, you want to make a change, or you want to change your book title, or you want to change the cover, you can just do it. It's quick and it's easy and it's so fluid.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. That makes total sense. Yeah.
It does. Yeah, dear Kerry, as I say, it's been a blast actually. I've really enjoyed chatting with you.
Thank you. Me too, with you guys. Thank you.
It's been a whirlwind, hasn't it? It's really fun.
It has been so quick. I can't believe it. I told you I've got a lot to say.
No, not at all. No, we had a good three-way chat. Brilliant. But listen, let's keep in touch as we have been doing, and I'll send you that link that we mentioned earlier. But for now, thank you and goodbye.
Thank you and goodbye. Take care. Bye.
Thanks.